Good morning again, everyone. Thank you for being here today with us. My name is Dorina Stanculescu. I work at Australo, and Australo is the, let's say, communication and dissemination partner within the Reincarnate project. The Reincarnate project is the host and the organizer of this discussion forum. Today we are holding the third discussion forum in our series. So the discussion forum is focused on circular innovation within the construction and demolition sector. And we started over the past months. We started in January with our first discussion forum. And the main focus, let's say, was to work collectively to see how we can drive sustainability, reduce, resource efficiency, and find innovative pathways to circularity. Today, we are going to take the next step. So we are going to focus more on actionable strategies. Wait, let me see if I can go and also show you the agenda. We are going to focus on actionable strategies to really integrate circular practices into the construction and demolition projects. We are going to do this with the help of our experts that I want to thank again for accepting our invitation, for being here with us. So we are going to hear from Linda Carlson, my accent, I'm sorry, Akademiska Hus. Hash, how do you pronounce this? Just for me to...
Akademiska Hus.
Akademiska Hus. Then another easy one. We are going to go to Bruno Linette from Bouygues Construction. No, yeah, more or less. And then we go to André van Delft from Demo Consultants. André, thank you very much. André is not only a speaker in our discussion forum, he is also a partner in the Reincarnate Consortium, and we enjoy working together. And we are going to end up with the Q&A session guided by Thelma Toktas from Erasmus University Rotterdam. Before we dive in, a quick reminder, as by its name, discussion forum, this means we would appreciate if we heard from you. So if you have questions while the speakers are presenting, please write them in the chat or keep them for later on to pop them up directly in the Q&A session. Having said this, I will stop sharing my screen and I will invite Linda to take the floor.
Hi, my name is Linda Carlson and I work at Akademiska Hus. That is one of Sweden's largest property companies. And the name comes actually from the fact that we develop and manage facilities for universities and colleges and research and business facilities connected to education and research. So I'd say we own about 60% of all those facilities in Sweden. I've been working as I've been responsible for the sustainability work for a project management part in Akademiska Hus. And I'm also part of a big innovation project that I've been working with for the past year and a half almost, and that is called Återhus. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's an innovation project where we try to actually reuse structural elements and mainly concrete elements. There's a lot of pilot projects. This is part 3 where we actually try to aim for more implementation. So I work with the work package that is working on the digitalization and also circular business models. But we in Akademiska Hus also have one of the pilot projects where we're actually gonna we were supposed to demolish a house, but now we're actually gonna take it down and hopefully build something new with it. So that is quite an aim to try to do that. We have more of those kind of projects within Återhus. And within Akademiska Hus, I've also been focused on just circular strategies for the past 2 years. And we're talking about strategies, and in Akademiska Hus, actually, we have had a goal and a climate budget that actually shows that we're going to reduce our climate gas emissions to 2040 down to 90% from the base year 2019. And I didn't have the latest picture where I actually can see the result of 2024, but it's equal to 2023. Which means that we're actually quite far with our goals. We are actually reducing more than we had aimed for the first years. But that's also a part of the construction business being a bit low maintenance right now, and a lot of investments are pushed ahead. So there's different explanations. But one big explanation is that we also have this 4-step principle where we have decided that within the company, we're actually going to aim for using the existing buildings, optimizing and retrofit what we have rather than building new ones. So that has actually meant a big difference when our customers come to us and want a new facilities of some kind of way. We're trying to find solutions that is better than just creating a new building for them. And this has been a very successful way of looking at different things, with also trying to create financial and economic goals within that, so that it has been cheaper for our universities. Actually, we managed to help them to rent less area than they used to, due to the fact that they actually can use it better. So we have helped that in different ways. We have had digital projects. We have measured how many people are using the rooms and so on together, and managed to see that it's not only about building new facilities. We actually need to use them better. And that is something we have used in a lot of ways. So we also see what is retrofit. Yeah, you can actually kind of tear down and try to make something new with the buildings we have that no longer want to use for what it was built for from the beginning. So, for example, in Gothenburg, we had a house where our university no longer needed it because they needed the office facilities anymore. So we decided to do something else with it. So we built student house of it instead, also aiming to use as much as possible of the materials within the house. So that is one concrete and practical example on how we actually use this 4-step principle. I think I also out and talk about circularity in many other ways, and I'm also part of something we have in Stockholm called Klimatarena Stockholm. We actually try to get companies and different stakeholders, properties and construction business and consultants actually come together to actually try to create a market for reused materials, which is going quite slow in Sweden. Actually, it's difficult. When we were going to build something new, it's difficult to find reused materials to do that. But we have managed to put some initiative running right now. So it's in the starting phase, but it's fun that actually more and more try to find ways to reuse more materials. And that led us just to also the fact that you need to have procurement strategies to value, reuse, and refurbish alternatives higher than new materials. So when we have projects, we actually ask the entrepreneurs to reuse the materials and refurbish what we have rather than buying new ones, and they actually get higher paid for that than actually buying new materials. And that's one way to actually increase those materials, because sometimes we find it find it a bit more expensive actually to reuse materials, but that depends on the new materials being actually too cheap, I would say. But this has also helped us, to actually have to realize that it's not that difficult to reuse materials. We have done that for years and years, but we haven't really seen it the way we're doing it now. Like it's a resource part, but it can also sometimes be economical right to use reused materials. We also work with procurement to demand secure environmental and social sustainably produced materials. So when we have new materials, it's very important for us where it comes from. And that's also a challenge for us, of course, but we're working more and more with those kind of issues. And that is also one part that's very important in the circular economy that we are also aiming for environmental and social sustainable products. We also try to seek solutions for high value of recycling before we're sending it to waste or low value recycle process. So within Reincarnate, we have worked with the cells and the reuse of the glass for windows. So we have our pilot project within Återhus that those windows going to be sent for reuse of the glass to be new windows, which we actually hope to actually be new windows in our new buildings on the other side of the street. So let's see what happens with that. And also build possibilities to reuse with less effort in the future. We now see that it's quite difficult to demolish or actually deconstruct our buildings the way in an easy way. But if we can build in another way so that our future generations can easier tear it apart in a way we actually can reuse it easier. That is also important to bring within the construction business. I don't know, Dorina, maybe I'm use my time.
You are perfectly on track.
Yeah.
So if you need 1 more minute to add something else, it's okay.
Yeah, I want to add something else that we're actually working on right now, and that is, like we think that circularity is a long-term commitment, and we are now trying to create a roadmap for long-term circular ambitions, where we're actually looking on how can we actually take steps ahead of us, like long-term in the future. And I think that is very interesting how you actually work not only with the climate budget, but also work like the circular ambitions. And that contains not only the materials, but we have also looked at energy and water supplies and also business strategies. So looking at circularity, I think is a long-term commitment. It's not just the material here and now.
Okay, so
that was
done. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita.
That was very interesting. Thank you. We also have a question for you, but that will be dealt at the end in the Q&A session. Thank you very much. It's always very interesting because it's not easy. As you said, it's a long-term commitment. It's so it's a challenge, and at the same time, it's anyway, it's a vision. It's a lot of things. So it's very interesting to see how value creation and circularity still go hand in hand, right? Okay, thank you. I will ask you to stop sharing now, and we go to Bruno. Bruno, if you want to share your screen or if you want to speak without slides, as you wish. We are curious to listen to your perspectives on innovation.
Okay, do you see my screen? I try first attempt.
Yes, we do. We perfectly see. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Bruno Lineat, and indeed I work in Bouygues Construction, which is a huge construction company. And I totally agree to what Linda exposed. It's very interesting. I'm in phase with what she said. And I'm here to expose you 2 examples, among others, of what we practically try to do. Before this, Bouygues Construction, is part of a huge group, Bouygues, which adds to construction, energy and services, media and telecoms. And Bouygues Construction itself has an income of 10 billion euros a year with 35,000 employees, so a big company. But more than the half of our income is made outside of France, in 50 countries approximately. And our work is on the total chain of the project of construction, from the preliminary studies, engineering, technical studies, supply chain, construction, operation, and then maintenance, repairs, and the construction at the end of the day. So we are involved in the whole life cycle of a project. Okay, I finished with B. So regarding circular economy, of course, we are committed for this. And I just wanted to spot on the first experience we made 10 years ago. First circular approach, or public circular approach, was ABC. ABC, Autonomous Building for Citizens. It's in Grenoble. It's a demonstrator we made, and we were very proud of it. It was aiming at autonomy in terms of energy, of course, but also in terms of water. So with recycling water inside the building for some use. So it was the first experience real and with communication around it. For circular economy, we learned a lot. It was not perfect, so we learned a lot. And then, as we follow our ideas, after ABC, we made CDE, Circular Design Experience. This was something else. It was a set of tools we have developed internally for our engineers, in the engineering teams or commercial teams, or operationally on the sites, a set of tools to enhance circularity in our processes, in our products for the clients, from the initial diagnosis till the interior finishes at the end of the site. Okay, this set of tools is still used today to provide to our clients the more circular possible approach of their projects. But this is very operational and not totally inspiring. That's why I will take two other examples. We need some concepts sometimes. So we have a concept which is shared with all the Bouygues companies, like Bouygues Immobilier, for example, the hybrid building for a positive economy, BHEP in French. So this has been awarded by Solar Impulse in 2019, excuse me. So this concept, just Linda said, sometimes circular economy is not affordable. So how can we switch a building from a source of expenses to a source of revenues, this allowing to have a more virtuous building to afford it? We have 6 levers. First, pulling underused spaces, which is in fact optimizing the surfaces of a building with chronotopy, with mutualization, and so on, to enhance the revenue of the building for the same quantity built. Second, of course, producing and managing the flux, so the energy mainly, and with a smart grid. So it's something which is quite in the air today. Third lever, I love this one, high quality of use, including mobility. We have studies made with goodwill management, for example, proving that in a building well designed for the lighting, for the air conditioning, for the biodiversity and the amenities, in this type of building, offices, for example, the productivity of the inhabitants is higher. This has a price. This could be recycled, this better productivity, in more virtuous or more expensive solutions. So this is very interesting, and you have some clients interested in this type of solutions and demonstrations. Material trading, of course, the building of the future will be a material bank, you know, this concept, and we are digging in this direction too, to have dismountable buildings and products, that materials and systems that can be used again and sold again, or hide material as a service, for example. Interdependence and reversibility is quite interesting too for us. If we connect a building on the grid, the demand of energy and supplies can vary with the use of the building more easily. And what is quite interesting is to design a building knowing for advance that it could be switchable. We have a building in Lyon, which name is OSH, Office Switch Building. So office suite home, this building is office, but it has been designed to be easily transformed in house. It's a little bit more expensive, but the global cost is worth it. And of course, in terms of circularity, it's very interesting to switch a building from office to housing without destroying everything. So it's quite powerful as a lever. And at the end, valuing positive externalities, it's how we can provide services to the society, biodiversity, carbon integration, and so on, resilience against events. All these services could be financed by the authorities or by subventions or by services provided to the community. All these levers are meant to enhance the quality of the buildings and pay for it, because just as Linda says, we must overcome the difficulty to finance our virtuous buildings. More on the ground now, less more practical. Another concept, CINEO, the facilitator of circular economy. We launched it 2 years ago. The concept of CINEO is to have a platform based on community animation, with digital tools for materials and systems trading or information, physical storage on the site, transformation processes with tools and little factories to make reuse or refurbish of products, laboratory and prototyping for assessment, for example, or for innovation, showroom for the trading, for the commercial part. And all this is supported by our teams to support the spin-offs on startups in this hub, and the training center also to make common improvement towards circular economy. So CINEO is relying on free feet. So we want to massify the development of circular economy with engineering teams, with the hub, the physical hub and the building, the platform, and of course with a community supporting all this system. This is a new concept you have launched. You have some partners already involved. You have here an example for Paris. We have clients, project actors with the banks. We have also constructors like Bouygues and Colas Premise. Material suppliers are joining us, with traditional ones like Saint-Gobain, for example, or more innovative ones, circular ones like Textiflor. We have federations, regulatory entities, ADEME, and of course, consulting engineering specialists, Elan, Bouygues Construction subsidiary. So all these people of these companies collaborate to find together new circular solutions. It's not always so easy, so together we are stronger. 2 of these sites are already launched in France. First one in Paris, Vitry-sur-Seine near Paris, and the second one 2 months ago in Nantes. And just a little winkle for Klaus, who is in the room, and Jennifer. The Paris site will be the one who will host the prototype of Bio for EEB bio-based facade, but this is another story. I will stop here. I am a little bit. Oh, I'm in time. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Bruno. It was very interesting in the sense I am not an expert, but the ABC concept, it was very interesting because it's, I already forgot, but for me, it made me think about ABC, so the beginnings. But then you had a building concept that was very interesting, of course, maybe for the experts less. Also the CINEO concept, so it's very nice to see all these let's say perspectives to innovation. And also I appreciated, and I took down a note and I will tweet about this, how do we go from how did you say, from a source of expensive to a source of savings? I think this is really the main question in my humble and non-expert opinion. Thank you very much, Bruno. And now we go to Andre. If you can stop sharing, please, Bruno, if you stop sharing. Okay. Now, Andre, you can take the floor. And yes, we already see your screen. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I just muted myself. That helps, giving a short intro As a short introduction, Selma invited me to say some words about a circular economy, and more exactly with the title Steering the Construction Industry Towards Circular Solutions. I have to tell you right away that I'm not an expert in circular economy, although I have to say we are working on Reincarnate now for 36 months. So here and there, I grab some information, but I would like to phrase that I'm still a generalist, and I take, let's say, a view on these things from a more holistic or maybe even a more abstract way. And the reason why, and it's also good to introduce, my name is André van Delft. I'm the director of Demo Consultants, which is a consultancy company based in the Netherlands. We are slightly smaller than Bouygues, Bruno, because we are with 20 employees. So I think there's a bit of a difference. But our focus is real estate information management. So we focus on these matters by designing, developing, implementing software solutions. We have consultancy and inspection services, and we do a lot of international research. And this is how we got connected to Reincarnate as well, this project. So what I'm about to share with you, that is based on our experience on the project of Reincarnate. And maybe referring to the title, Steering Towards a Circular Approach. What does it mean, steering? I found by coincidence when I saw this picture, the steering wheel and a circle, that is circular by definition, but of course, this is not how it works. It's more interesting, what is steering and how can we steer? Because steering in an abstract way, for me, it is trying to influence, trying to aim for a direction and to adjust here and there if things are changing, but eventually to arrive at the objective that you've set for yourself. And the objective we agreed on is to grow, to improve on circular economy, especially for the construction industry. So if you look at that, is it a push or is it a pull? That's always interesting to check. And a bit more concrete, maybe. In my experience running a business for almost 30 years, it's very good to take an academic approach, etc. But let's start with some bottlenecks and incentives as a group, but also for the individual partners. Because for me, it's really clear, circular economy, we can only do it as a team, as an ecosystem. So therefore, I was very pleased to see this sheet of Bruno with all the parties already connected to each other, because circular economy, by definition, in my opinion, that is only possible when doing this together. Having said so, if there is not an incentive for one of each of those partners, then it's quite difficult to move in that direction. So that is something good to pay attention to if you want to steer towards that direction. It's good to realize as well, is there a difference? And if so, what is it, the difference between the linear and the circular economy? Because in my opinion, quite some things are quite the same, but of course there's other that are really different, and there you should try to influence that. And also steering towards circular solution. What is a solution? That I would like to dedicate some words to as well. But maybe providing the context first, because we do have some Reincarnate partners in this group as well, but not all of you. So maybe it's good to explain a bit about the background of Reincarnate. This project that is running for almost 36 months, like I said, and we are still 12 months we have ahead of us. But the main phrase you could say, Reincarnate, we aim to develop the technical and social means to give new opportunities to buildings, construction products and materials, thus maximizing their life cycle and determining if they're suitable for research. So it's not simply transferring, reusing, but also trying to extend. That's very important to realize as well. So the structure of the project, work package 1, we have the circular potential information model. I'll come back to that later. Then we see a couple of work packages dedicated to solutions. First one, again, for life cycle extension. Work package 3, Klaus is here in the group as well. He is the leader of that work package. Solutions for adaptive reuse and recycling. So how can you physically reuse stuff? And then equally important, I would say, what are social and economic and market innovations? Once you have explored and developed solutions, then of course the proof, the pudding is in the eating. You should try to demonstrate it, check it, and to standardize it. And of course, you should spread the news, I would say. We should communicate, and that is done very well by Australo in our project. And of course, it goes without saying that we also have some project management. So focusing on those solutions, and I'm not going to address them, all of them separately, but the core, you could say, of the Reincarnate project were 10 solutions, 10 innovations that we try to apply to achieve our objectives. They're clustered in 4 groups: digital tools, automated solutions, cross-sectorial holistic solutions, and access value, the access value in terms of monetary. I'll come back to that later. So having these solutions in mind, like I said, it's good to explore, it's good to design, to develop, but let's try in practice. Therefore, in the beginning, when writing the proposal, we had to find already 10 demonstration cases. They're here and there, they're substituted by some others, but roughly we are still having 10 demonstration cases where we actually are applying our solutions in order to learn and to showcase. This is where they are situated. So from Sweden all the way to the south of Spain. And again, this is an active project, so we're in the middle of it. And we have explored, we have developed a lot of things, but now the coming 2 months is really to demonstrate and to exercise with them, so to say. So a bit of background about Reincarnate. What does it mean for a practical approach? Because us being an SME, earning money from our customers by providing software tools and services, of course, we have a strong preference for practical approach. And if we translate the entire project, like I just explained, into practical terms, what in our opinion is really important to get a successful approach is first, start to enable parties to speak the same language, and that is humans and machines, by using ontologies, standards, and make it interoperable. Tackle barriers, and there are 3 clusters: technology, legislation, and economics. Then, of course, test and demonstrate. And last but not least, create business models, create a business case out of it. Because, of course, it's really nice to investigate stuff, but in the end of the day, I cannot make it more beautiful than it is, but all parties, or a lot of parties, they will decide based on the euros on the end of the day. So, practical terms, we have set up in Reincarnate this platform online. And this is a scheme I'm not expecting you to understand, but there's a lot under the hood. So we have this platform with a lot of applications, modules, where we can interface with external databases, external parties, to facilitate this process. And like I said, we want to tackle some technical barriers for companies. How does it look like? We have an interface where people can use based on the platform to make an inventory, and let's say also to connect with market platforms, other companies. Like I said, we cannot do it just ourselves. We really need a lot of parties to get this all going. And by creating storages, marketplaces, whatever, for donor buildings to receiving buildings, systems like that, that should be easily accessible. And therefore, we have created these kind of software solutions. Also, a practical and what we call RE on site, an app fully dedicated to make inventories on site for existing buildings and use it for the logistic processes. This is in France, I believe, Paris Habitat. We have experimented there as well to make a survey, to create a BIM model to fully digitalize this process in order to assess whether it's feasible to use it for this circular economy processes. And here's another scheme, simple photogrammetry, including with BIM models, making an inventory, non-destructive testing data, condition score data, and the R ladder. Don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's some kind of methodology to see to what extent it is reusable. That can be included as well here. So you see, we are working on really pragmatic solutions. A lot of innovations here, you can see where they are applied. So we are still learning from that, but building up a track record, let's call it like that, that is already the first step for marketing and convincing parties that are trying to create some business out of it. And that is, like I said, tackling technology barriers and business. So here we see a scheme, how we can create a business model out of it. And this is something that we're working on within the project. And fortunately, as well, also with some external parties. So to summarize in short, this is very short overview of some practical innovations that we're working on. I'm very glad because, let's say 30 months ago, to be honest, I myself was quite skeptical about circular economy. But now talking and showcasing these kind of things to commercial party in the Netherlands and in Sweden, etc., they're really interested to adapt this. And we are working already on commercial proposals with them and commercial configurations. And there we need early adapters. We need front runners, of course, to get this going. Because like I said, one party cannot do it by himself, circular economy, but definition is relying on several partners. Again, I only had 10 minutes and I exceeded it already, but there's way more information on these links. And there's even, and I'd like to stress this as well, on the project website, Reincarnate, we have the Reincarnate Academy, and there are some training courses. They are being developed at this very moment in order to introduce this to parties in real life that really want to continue with this circular economy approach. Again, only 10 minutes. It's difficult to grasp 36 months in 10 minutes, but I hope it was at least something that aroused your interest. The final sheet is question and comments, but I believe, Selma, it is a very nice bridge to you because you're moderating the question and answer session, if I'm correct. So again, thanks for the opportunity, and I'm open, of course, to answer questions.
Thank you, Andre, very much. I think this was very useful because you presented the project and you stressed some important points like what I write here, the importance of collaboration, practical innovation, business plans, and commercial approaches. So I think you presented, as you mentioned, the holistic approach, which is always interesting and welcome, not to hear just one side of the story, right? I will ask you to stop sharing, and I will ask Selma now to guide the discussion based on your presentations and, of course, on the questions from the audience.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you to all speakers for their insightful presentation. I think we have a lot takeaways from their presentation to support circular transformation in academically and also practically. So far, we have only one question from Katerina directly to Linda. For others, please feel free, drop your questions in the chat, or you can also share your comments, your thoughts, feedbacks. It's also valuable for us to hear. Yes, Linda, you have a question from Katerina. The question is there any study or research where the fourth step principle is supported by data? She would like to take a look at the details about this. It's really interesting when I heard the first time your fourth step principle. Maybe you can a little bit explain in detail.
Yeah, I don't know if there is specific data on the process in itself, but I could, for example, give you an example on where we had a question from one of the universities who actually needed new facilities for their examinations because we didn't really have those facilities that they needed. They needed big rooms for 100 to 200 people. and they gave us a drawing on like how that house or all the amount of area they needed, and together we actually worked with it with this principle and managed to. Well, at first we actually looked like, do we have any other ways than building this new house? And the conclusion was, in the end, no, we did not. But we actually didn't have to build that house so big as the universities thought they needed due to different things. So in number, actually, it became a 4 storage building instead of a 7 storage building. So that also saved a lot of money, saved a lot of materials. So that is kind of an example of actually making things cheaper and more resource efficient. But I don't know if you needed, like, if the question is about studies, I'll have to come back to that because I'm not sure we have anything. I can't hear you, Salma.
You're muted, Salma.
You are.
Sorry. Thank you, Linda. You also have another question. Are you measuring or planning to measure circularity at your projects that you could use in reporting? I also really wondering this one. How do you measure progress when it comes to really practical things?
Actually, that is one of this year's ambitions, to actually work on how we're going to best measure it. There is one way that is quite used within the construction business, and that is when you use actually weight percentage of the materials. That is circular materials, and that can be included also circular, that parts of the materials are circular or used materials. But we find that we have more worked on the, how do I say this, the ambitions and actually the mind of actually changing from new materials to reused materials, rather than actually pushing the measurement. And now we have a big acceptance among our project leaders that actually this is the way we work. We work with reused materials, and I think that is a very important step to take before we actually start to measure things, because of course you can measure things, but if you do it in a weight percentage, for example, in a new building, that would be probably quite low and maybe won't be, I don't know. I don't think that would support our process that much. But the aim is that we're actually gonna start to measure it from this year and forward. And how we'll do that, maybe in different ways, maybe as a weight percentage in our project, but also in other ways to actually strengthen the motivation among our project leaders, because they are often the ones doing the work.
Thank you, Linda. We have another question, again from Katerina, this time directed to Andre. She's asking about the tool you presented, if it is only for the partners involved in the projects, or it's open. What's the idea for in the future? Will it be publicly available at some point?
At some point, it will. As you might know, within research project, of course, we have a description of action, we have deliverables, we have internal agreements with partners. So right now, it is available to all the partners within the consortium to really use it, to test it, to showcase it, and we are enhancing the functionalities specifically for circular economy, and that is us and Mainflix. And I saw that Sasha is also in the group here. They are providing an IoT middleware platform that's fully integrated in this platform. As I explained in the beginning, we are a commercial company who do a lot of research. So right now we are researching and developing, but of course the intention is to really bring it to the market like I said, to create this platform for all the companies that will be facilitated by this. And at this very moment, we are already having talks in Sweden and in the Netherlands with contractors, circular economy, etc., how to use it, etc., etc. So there is a very concise roadmap within the project and after that. If you want to know more about the platform, then I would advise you to visit also the website where there are some videos, some explanations about it. And if you really want to know more about it, please contact us, and then we can explain more in detail what is going to be expected.
Okay, thank you, Andre. We have one more question for Bruno. It's, I think, based on Andre's presentation. The question is, to what extent circular economy driving your daily work at the moment, and also the need of involving circular economy into your into the business life?
Thank you for this question, Klaus. I don't know if you speak about my personal business, the answer is 80%, but it's probably not my personal business or activity you are aiming at. For a constructor like Bouygues Construction, today, circular economy is not driving our activity, but it is integrating more and more our activity. Several examples. Each site is asked to work on zero waste procedures. Okay, it's the first level. But each commercial who speaks with a client first interrogates the needs, and we have this question, new or refurbished, often, which is asked. You must know that some of our business units are now more than 66% involved in renovation instead of new construction. This is a revolution. So other example, we are developing timber construction with bio-based and traceable and renewable wood. So we aim at having 30% of our buildings mainly made of wood in 10 years. So these are several examples, and of course we work hard on measurement of KPIs about circularity with material flow analysis or some more complicated approaches too. We work on Bio4AB on this topic too. So we are trying to make a step beyond, because only low carbon today is not enough, and we know that the most powerful lever to lower our emissions and to avoid depletion of resources is circular economy. So each of our projects is interrogating the subject, and each time we have the opportunity with Cineo also, we develop as much as possible the circular solutions. But of course, we have to sell it to our clients and to convince them. Okay, there is a lot to do.
Yes, I have some question about this, but we have another question from the participants. If we have time, I will back to ask related this. There is one more question to Andre. How has your perspective on circularity in the construction industry evolved as a result of your involvement in the Reincarnate project?
It has completely changed my ideas about circular economy, to be honest. For those who know me, we are doing a lot of research projects. At the moment, we are running like 11 or 12 research projects on different topics. And this one was the first for us for circular economy, to be honest. And I will be quite frank about it with you people. I thought, well, this is just another topic. It's kind of cool to include this as well. Until we started this project, and I remember very well that we had a meeting in Stockholm at the Ragn-Sells venue, and there the director of research and development, he gave a presentation about their mission on circular economy, and he told me as well about scarcity of materials, and even more top, really the progress in scarcity, and it's really breathtaking if you study those numbers, how fast it is going. Materials are lacking, becoming scarce. And not only that we are lacking those materials, but it's causing all kind of geopolitical issues, etc. So it is really, really way more important than just organizing another business model, in my opinion. So that was actually my first mind shift. And then, like I said, during this project, we got in contact with also commercial parties in the Netherlands and in Sweden. And what I did learn is that they are making already business out of it. And it is really rapidly increasing. And that's, for example, also the reason why they approached us being an IT specialist, whether we could facilitate all their processes of digitization. So in short, in the beginning, I thought, well, just another project. Right now, I would say it's not a matter, will this happen? It's more the pace. And I'm really surprised about the pace that it is taking. And therefore, I would, if I'm allowed, also would like to ask a small question to Linda, because if I heard you correctly, you said it's going so slow, these processes. So where are we? Is it going fast? Is it going slow? And if it is going slow, what is, in your opinion, the biggest bottleneck so far, if any?
Yeah, I think it's going slow in the fact that actually we don't have the market with all the materials. So I think it's also a way of seeing that it costs money. It costs more money to actually take things down in a way that make them reusable rather than just demolish it. And who's going to stand for that cost? So there's an insecurity in that market. I think, like, will you get paid for actually doing that work? And I think that's one of the biggest reasons we don't have a market for reused materials. So in that sense, it's going slow because we don't have a supportive financial model for that yet, but I hope will come. But it's interesting when we see the scarcity of materials, but it's still, I think it's going too slow actually to have that in a bigger scale.
Thank you.
Yes, maybe Andre, I can also ask you, it's really good to hear that there is a growing interest about the circular innovation economy. What do you think triggered this shift in the mindset of the companies? Was it market pressure or regulations or reputation of the circular economy? I'm really wondering what's the biggest thing.
What I learned so far, and again, my view on that is quite limited, because again, I'm not an expert on circular economy. I do not know all the involved parties, but the parties that we spoke with in Sweden and in the Netherlands, they are commercial companies. And I cannot make it more beautiful than it is, but they're interested in making profit, long-term profit, not necessarily as high as possible, but really make sure that, and by coincidence, these companies are family owned, and they also have another perspective, let's say, compared to other companies, because what they told me as well, family owned businesses, they're of course in business to make profit, but actually to transfer it to the next generation. And with this mindset, this perspective, they're more attracted to the circular economy approach and really thinking long-term investment, but if they're not making money out of it, they simply will not do it. So for me, it was the proof that apparently they do see opportunities, they do see profit, and apparently they're doing quite successful. But what I said as well, what is really hindering is like legislation. Maybe examples by governments creating conditions, etc. That is improving, they told me. And now, actually, what they're facing, the biggest problem, they told me, is not so much getting projects, but scaling up. How to control this, how to organize this. And what they are really doing, and that's what they taught me as well, you cannot do this just by yourself. So, of course, they want to be a front runner. Of course, they want to make business out of it, but they understand that they can only do it together with their competitors. So they actually started their foundation for marketplaces, etc., etc. They said the market is big enough for us and our competitors to make a good profit out of it, and we simply cannot do it alone. So barriers again, still a bit technology, legislation, but apparently for them, they were able to make money out of it.
Yeah.
And of course, it's also, well, maybe not nowadays, but hopefully it will come back again. Really pressure and image on, let's say, what is it? Energy efficiency, sustainability, etc. Once promoted, supported by EU, by the member state countries, that helps those countries, of course. And maybe to conclude with this, what Linda said, it's going slow, etc. It's always a market again only functions with enough contributors, enough demand and need companies. So starting it up, that's the most difficult part. But once when you achieve a certain economy of scale, then it really could kick off.
Okay, thank you so much. We have last question. Well, to all speakers, do you integrate the price of CO2 in the business model after life cycle assessment? It could help mitigate the higher cost of circular economy, but it's not always integrated by clients. Yeah. Is there anyone who would like to start? Andrea, Linda, yeah. Bruno? Yeah.
Yes, indeed, we try. For example, Elan, our teams dedicated to advisory in environmental topics, Elan has developed a concept of facilitator climat. You could traduce it climate facilitator. So we try to accompany our clients with the analysis of the carbon footprint of the building, and to get money back from the government or from any source of financement, complementary to help the client to have a better building, less carbonated building. So yes, indeed, we try. It does not make the circle. It doesn't pay the extra cost, but we try, and this is something which is appreciated by our client. And besides, we we try to investigate new business models linked to circular economy more directly also. Building as a service, material as a service, economy of functionality. This is something we are digging, and some clients begin to work with us on this topic.
Yes, thank you. Linda or Andrea, do you want to add something?
Yeah, but I could just say that looking at our building project, we actually made calculations, and we set a price on the carbon, and similar to what actually the taxes are for it. And that made such a small difference in the total financial part of the project. So it didn't really matter, it was too small. So we needed to actually add it, maybe have had it at least 10 times higher or even more. So that didn't work. But what we now have in the investment process that we'll need to go through in the larger building project is that we actually have to follow both the financial improvement before we can start a project, but also following our climate budget. So if you're not reaching the goal within the climate budget, the projects will not get approved either. So you'll have to work with both, but we still haven't worked together with the costs. But I think that is also one important part to work with in the future.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Dorina, we have one more question. Is it possible to answer it? Do we have any limitation? Yeah,
no,
okay.
No. If anyone needs to leave, they can leave, but we have no meeting coming up, so we can have some more meetings.
The last question, I think, again for Linda. Given the current demolition rate and the intention not to increase it, do you expect the integration of reused construction elements to become a significant portion in the near future? I find your long-term strategy facilitating future reuse even more inspiring. could that be a bigger contributor priority long term? Yeah, it's a really good question.
Yeah, as I said, our aim is actually to not demolish any buildings anymore, but I think that it would probably have to happen in sometimes, and that's also why we are part actually in Återhus, where we actually look at both the technical and the business aspects of how can we actually reuse construction elements in a better way, and it's going to be way better to let the building stand where it is. That's for sure. But I think there will still be a lot of buildings that we don't want to have where they are, and I actually believe in the future we actually can reuse construction elements. We already see an increase in that in Sweden, quite a lot actually. Especially for the prefabricated elements. It's a bit difficult with other parts, but prefabricated elements are actually, there's actually a demand for those in the reuse markets, but the reuse market doesn't really work. So there's it's a little bit like a hide and seek right now. But so I believe that will be a long-term strategy for the future for all companies actually.
Yeah, it's nice. Thank you for all speakers and participants. The questions are really very good to discuss the current situation, practical implementations and barriers. And it's really nice to hear that there is a hope to integrate fully circular economy in the construction industry. Of course, it takes a little bit slow movements in some other countries, but in Andre's speech, it's very hopeful for us, at least in the Netherlands, because I heard, I conducted some interviews for the project. There are many skeptical thoughts on this, so it's really nice to hear that. I hope in the coming years, more adaptable solutions can be integrated into the industry, not only construction, but also the whole things. Thank you for very insightful and dynamic discussion forum.
Okay, so thank you everyone. Selma already said everything. I just wanted to say that this was the last forum, but we really hope this is not a goodbye, so follow us on LinkedIn, on our website, on Blue Sky, to X, and yes, make questions, keep in touch. We hope we made, circularity look a little bit less than a buzzword and a little bit more of a concrete, practical approach that can be used. Thank you so much and keep in touch.